Hello, everybody, and welcome to another in our In My Experience interviews, where we talk to Indian entrepreneurs who are really leading the way in terms of the luxury that they're producing and the way that they're producing it. This is a great opportunity for you to also listen and learn about their journey. Perhaps as entrepreneurs yourselves, you're actually experiencing some of the challenges that they face. This is a fantastic way of you being able to learn about new ways, new approaches that might help you when you're getting your business going as well. Now, today I am absolutely delighted and excited to have a chat with Gaurav Mehta. He is actually the owner of the Jaipur Watch Company, and I've been linked in with him for quite some time, watching the amazing products that they're been producing. So I'm very excited to have a conversation with him and to find out a little bit more about how they do what they do and why it's an example for everybody who's looking to get into luxury in India. As always, we're joined and hosted today by Shreya Agarwal, our good friend and luxury blogger and expert. So welcome, Shreya, and I will be jumping in every now and again, as usual, and making lots of notes. But I hope you find this a really interesting conversation. So I'm really looking forward to it. Shreya.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you so much. And thank you, Mr. Mehta, for very graciously accepting invite and doing this. Um, so firstly, let's talk about the fabulous brand that you've created. Uh, you know, in terms of taking us and our viewers through the launching of India's first ever bespoke watch brand. So can you tell a little bit more about that?
Hi Shreya, hi Helen. Thank
Hi.
you so much for the kind introduction. Uh, Shreya, this company was started in the year 2013, and the idea of making this company uh, came into my mind in the year 2012. So 1 year was the period when was the real struggle before starting the company. That was the period when I was raising the funds. That was the period when I was doing the prototypes. That was the period when I was setting up my suppliers. So yeah, it's been 9 years now. We are going strong. Every year we have seen a very massive number of growth. Yeah.
That's quite exciting. And
Yeah.
how how did you come up with this idea of actually creating a bespoke watch brand? Because in India, we usually don't have this kind of venture that we usually see.
So the idea was never to create a bespoke watch brand. It was something, bespoke started because we were a small brand. So having, being a small brand has its own advantage.
Right.
So the idea was to start a brand which focuses on watches made using British India or antique coins of India. That was the
Mhm.
initial idea. And we are very strong in that field still. I mean, that happens to be our core product.
Mhm.
But the philosophy of building a bespoke watch brand came when I was the one who was interacting with the clients. Being a small company, being a startup in the year 2013, you are the face of the company,
Right.
and you are the one who's dealing with the clients. You are the one who's selling the watch to the client. So when the client gets an access to you, as the owner, he will always throw in some suggestions.
Mhm.
Right.
You don't do it when you go to a watch store. No, you just see and you have to buy. Maximum what you can ask is, can you engrave my name on it or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But when you're being the owner, when you being the decision maker, you are interacting with the clients. The client takes this as as a liberty, and he gives you suggestions that why
Right.
don't you do this, why don't you do that,
Mhm.
why can't you allow me to design my own watch, since you have a watch company and you are the owner, why don't you make a watch as per my design for me? So from there this thought came that there is a lot of demand for bespoke watches. A lot of people actually require watches which are made to order as per their style, as per their design ideas, as per their thoughts or inspirations, whatever. So from there, this thing started, and it turned out to be a big thing for us.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah,
Very interestingly, you'd mentioned that how you wanted to create something with coins, right? And the
yeah,
brand, very interestingly, has these integrations of Indian elements. Like you have coins, there's
yeah,
pitch by art, which is there. So most often, many times we see that Indian brands, Indian luxury brands, um, fail to meet the global market because they're very Indianized, right?
Yeah.
However, the brand has very strategically and smartly strike a balance between the Indian sensibilities and the modern aesthetics, right? So, how did you or the brand take this into consideration as, very important factor, so that it remains, um, it remains um, open to the global market, or even relatable to the global market, I would say.
Uh, See, there was no deliberate attempt in towards, keeping it in a way that, we are relatable to the global market or Indian market. It was just that our design philosophy is very strongly Indian. Okay. All our products, be it coin watches, be it the hand painted pitchwise watches, be it the watches made using peacock feather, but at the same time, they are universal in their own appeal and story. Hand painted watches. Pitchwai is something which is not just limited to India. Pitchwai is a very popular art form in
Right.
fashion nowadays. Okay. So that gets picked naturally. Coins have their own history because they are British India coins. So there is a lineage towards the British people also and towards the Indian people also, but because it reminds both the people about the old times. Peacock is something which is again more universal. Peacock is a very, very strong design element for a lot of designers across the globe, not just India. So it is a natural thing that the brand falls between the Indian, it keeps Indian aesthetics and has international, I would say, aesthetics at the same time as well. Uh, Another thing, not just the face of the watch, it is also the body of the watch. It is also the machinery, the parts which are used inside the watch. They also have to be at par with international standards.
Right.
If you're calling yourself a luxury watch, okay, you have to be somewhere close in terms of the finish, in terms of the movement, in terms of the sapphire crystals, in terms of the parts what you use, which are comparable with the international brands. So we have followed that very closely, and the result is in front of you.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's extremely crucial that the standardization is maintained, the quality standardization. It's the bare minimum, right? Um, so, since the brand started as, um, firstly, a very new brand in the Indian market, right? A watch brand
Yeah.
in the Indian market.
Yeah.
And as I've read about the brand, it is bought not by some first timers, right? Because it's not usually the first watch that you buy.
True.
It's bought by people who are fond of watches or watch connoisseurs, right? Or people who are intrigued, as you mentioned, right? The coins are, it's part of the history that you are buying. So somebody who loves history, right? So many times I've seen when brands start with their positioning in the market, or even before creating the product or how they want to market the brand, it's extremely crucial that they look at the target market, right?
Yeah.
So how did the brand come to a decision that, okay, this is my target audience in a world where we know it's dominated by Swiss brands, right?
Okay. Age group for us was something which was very clear from the beginning that we'll be always targeting 25 plus is the age
Okay.
group for me.
Mhm.
Okay, as a target client. We have young clients also, but yeah, primarily 25 plus is the age group where we work upon. The reason being that I knew this one thing for sure, that my watch will not be the first watch for anyone. Okay, we are not a mass brand. Normally, the first watch which you get is something in the price range of 1800 rupees to 3000 rupees or 5000 rupees max. That is the first watch which you will get, okay,
Right.
as a gift from your parents, normally, right? So with our pricing, we knew that someone who reaches, say, a price point, we were not very expensive when we started. We were like 20,000 rupees price point when we started. So someone who reaches a 20,000 rupees price point has to have, this watch will be his second or third watch. There will be a journey. There will be a journey.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
by the time the client reaches this price point. Secondly, there has to be some maturity when you are buying, say, a coin watch. You need to be, you know, attracted towards the watch in terms of knowing the history of the watch, knowing the story behind the coin. There is some education, indirect education, which we, you know, impart with every product which we give. So that interest normally develops again at the similar age group of 25 plus, right? And then these watches are very popular in gifting. Watches are very popular in gifting. So again, it's the similar age group who can afford this kind of gifting. So that is how we arrived at this, okay, that this will be our age group.
Interesting. Yes. Because I think it's very important that you have to create that niche, or you have to understand who you are targeting as well, right? Um, now when we're talking about the brand positioning, right? Because it was such a new brand, what were the efforts that you had made to ensure that, to create that successful positioning of Jaipur Watch Company as a luxury brand? In a sense, we say that it takes time to build an understanding of luxury brands, right? So,
I think I'm still in the process.
I'm
think
sure, yes.
we are still. I would say at least 10 more years I need to, you know, establish this as a luxury brand. Okay, so honestly, like you said, it takes a lot of time. For me, it was even more difficult because back in the year 2013 when I started, there was no concept of Indian luxury brand. Okay,
Yes.
in watches. Indian watch brands, whoever are here in the market right now or who were there in the past, are known to produce mass watches, million watches a year, 2 million watches a year. So these are the kind of scales what Indian watch brands have been doing so far. So someone coming up and saying that I will do only a limited number of watches a year was a new concept. The acceptance was very low. See, it was a known fact that I used to get feedback from the clients that why is your watch so expensive? In this price range, I can get so and so brand.
Right.
Why will I buy an Indian brand?
Mm-hmm.
Then there was another problem when I started. I went to these multi-watch brand stores. I told them that, you know, why don't you sell my watch? Again, the same feedback. You know, why is your watch so expensive? You know, we only sell Swiss brands. Why will we sell Indian brands? So I faced all these challenges. Okay, and there are ways to bypass them, and we have bypassed them successfully. So, for example, the retail. I'll tell you about the retail part. So all the multi-brand stores denied us that, and back in 2013, e-commerce was also not so popular.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, even Instagram was not existent that time. It was only Facebook which was there.
Yeah.
So it was, you know, very difficult for me to reach to clients and spread the awareness because you normally require a lot of budgets if you're building a watch brand. You require celebrity endorsements. You require all these things for a brand to build. So what I did, I went to the hotels instead of going to the retailers. First, I went to the retailers. They said no to me. Then I went to the hotels. I went to Taj. I went to the Oberoi's. I told them that this is the product. This is a good fit for your shops in the hotel. Why don't you keep it? And they happily accepted it. So I created my alternate retail chain from there.
Visibility, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Then, Touchwood, the product happened to be viral in nature because no one did watches using antique Indian coins so far. So we got a lot of natural PR. I remember my first media coverage was a full page financial newspaper, Pan India. That was the first media coverage which I got. Then we got some celebrity clients post that, like big celebrity clients. You must have seen on our website also.
Yes, we. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So we got some big, huge celebrity clients from that, and that's how the ball started rolling. But for me to change the perception that, you know, Indian watch brand can't be expensive, took a lot of time, and I'm still facing that challenge at least once a day. People tell me that, you know, why don't you rename your brand from Jaipur Watch Company to JWC? It sounds more international.
I get where they're coming from. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. We all know from where they're coming from. So I keep getting these feedbacks every day till now also. Okay. But, I have been very focused on this one point that, we have to be known as an Indian watch brand. We don't want to keep a fancy name which doesn't have any connection with the brand and then say, okay, now we are an international watch brand or position ourselves in a wrong manner.
Yeah.
We are an Indian luxury watch brand. That was clear for me from day one. And Jaipur itself is a brand.
Yes.
That has really helped.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think it's an interesting theme because it's something we hear regularly now that's coming through, in that Indian entrepreneurs who are wanting to really pursue the luxury brand specialism face this internal prejudice against Indian brands. Suddenly, they're believing this outside PR, non-PR, if you like, which is, well, India can only do low quality, low priced, mass production, and they can't really do luxury.
Yeah.
And they're facing this from the retailers, they're facing a bit of it from consumers, they face it from the press, because I don't know what it is, but Indians just want to be Western, and I can't get my head around why that's the case. Because actually the heritage, all of the amazing things that India has achieved in its time of existence, right back to when, is just being forgotten. And it's almost like, well, it's only got validity if it has a Western brand on it. And I think it's an absolute tragedy. So you have to have that confidence, you have to persevere. And it's people like you that will actually help India to put itself on the map for luxury brands that are sustainable, that actually have that quality of manufacture, that care, that means that they are up there with everybody else. And actually, global to a consumer is pretty darn boring. It's only interesting to the company. I'm more interested in what's coming out of Jaipur and the Indianness, and why is that got a story behind it that I want to hear. Otherwise, it's just like any other brand, and they're dull.
Exactly.
So I think, well done. Keep persevering, because it is exactly what's needed, and it's exactly what we're hearing as the challenge for all the other Indian entrepreneurs that we talk to in these series. But they persevere as well, and enough people persevering changes what this is going to look like. But more power to you.
Thank you. Thank you. So you truly understand, that it's a huge fight which I faced all this time. Now I'm in a position that, okay, I can say that, okay, this is the price, you take it or you leave it.
Yeah.
We are getting sold out by the end of this month.
Good.
So,
Good.
so now we have come to this position, but it was a tough journey. It was not an easy journey.
Yeah. And it is tough. It's no quick fix. There's no fast journeys to wealth or happiness.
No,
in
but
this.
honestly, I'll tell you, Helen, this perception has changed in the last 5 years or something. Okay. So liquor is one space where I see
Massive
huge appreciation for Indian liquor.
Yes.
People are falling for it. People are loving it. So it has started from liquor, and it will touch other sectors. So,
we had a very interesting chat with a guy who runs Gin down in Goa. Fabulous. What a great brand. It's got a lovely story behind it. The spirits world is absolutely open around the world for more interesting and nuanced flavors in the luxury sector. So, there are so many different sectors. I think we've got about 5 or 6 that we focus on as product categories. But actually the new definition of luxury is becoming more open to new product categories coming in, and that's really helping to build this momentum of luxury in India. So we keep pushing that.
And last 7-8 years, there was no venture capitalist fund who was interested even in talking to a D2C Indian luxury brand.
No.
But in the last 1 year, my
We've seen it.
day schedule is flooded with Zoom calls with one fund or the other fund who's interested to pick up some equity in the company.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's amazing. It's encouraging.
Yes.
Yeah.
When we are discussing about this, right, that how pricing an Indian brand, you need the justification. Why is it that we are paying so much for the brand? But Gaurav, this must have been a massive challenge when a customer comes and asks you, right? Like, why is it that you're quoting X amount for a newly done brand, which we don't even know about, right? So, how important do you think that customer education at that point is necessary, especially for an Indian consumer, right? Because
See,
we've
for
seen
me,
this.
it was easy because there were two things which helped me. I was the salesperson, I was the CEO, I had all the designations you can imagine, okay, that time. So I was interacting with the client. There was no better salesperson than me. Still, there is no better salesperson than me in my company, okay? So if I am educating the client, he will listen to me, he will understand me.
Yeah.
That helped. Secondly, how we positioned ourselves with the hotels.
Right.
No one is going to challenge the price in the hotel.
Yeah.
The hotels have a MRP, and when you are entering in a huge five-star property, you're not going to position or challenge or question why is this price at this price.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that went successful. So the entire model went successful for us because there was validation.
Yeah.
If there was no
Being got
validation, for example,
yeah.
I'd priced my product at say $1,000. No one is buying it. Then probably I'll realize maybe I overpriced it. Maybe I did something wrong. But then we were getting regular validation at the same point, so which gave us confidence that okay, no, people are buying. There is acceptance. It's perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's very important that you stick to your understanding of the product as well, right? You have to have your own confidence, and then the customer education is a part of journey of the brand. Every brand needs to build their own customer story, right? So that they at least feel a part of the brand also when they are buying.
And see, being a small company, we always have this advantage that a lot of customers are like family to me now. A lot of my clients are like family to me because being the owner, being the salesperson, I've interacted with them since 9
Personal
years.
relationship, yes.
A lot of strong personal relationship. So I know one thing for sure: the day I launch any collection, I will sell 50 units on day one of that collection, irrespective of whatever it is. Because I know I have these 50 clients who will buy whatever I tell them that this is something which I've launched.
Yeah.
So this is the kind of thing which gives you confidence.
That's great.
Right. Definitely.
And do you feel that they are acting as collectors of your watches? This is something that they regularly look for.
I'm sure.
There are collectors. In fact, few of my watches are something which are sought after now. They're sold out. They were limited editions.
Yeah.
And they are now sought after. So it takes time, for a brand to build, to come to a place where the watches are being resold in the market. There's a second-hand market for those collections. So it takes time for a collection to reach that level.
Yeah.
Yes.
And when you start to think of the consumer as a collector, you have a different perspective. You know then what you need to do and what you should never do.
Exactly.
I think, as I mentioned to you in one of our conversations on LinkedIn, I previously worked on projects at the Royal Mint. The Royal Mint is an 1,100-year-old institution that makes most of the coins, I think, around the world. And they used to find very popular areas such as incorporating sovereigns into a watch or into a bracelet or in some way, because you can't actually damage the coin, otherwise you cart it off to prison. Apparently that's in the rules, but it never really happens. But actually you can't damage the coin. But yeah, it's surprising. The collector mentality is extremely valuable. So if you can build that up, then you have got customers literally for life and beyond.
Yeah.
On that note, Gaurav, just to understand how the brand also being a small company, right? I'm sure in today's time, everybody is very vigilant and careful about being a sustainable brand. Okay. And especially in luxury, where we see that even luxury brands are moving towards mass production. So how does your brand take that into consideration, being a boutique brand?
So there are two aspects to it. First, we do a very small number of collections. We introduced ourselves with bespoke watches, right? So bespoke is something which is one of a kind. It's a single piece watch which is made for a client. So naturally, the overall wastage of material, the overall sampling, all these things reduces drastically.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I have to make one watch. So I can't do 10 samples for that one watch.
Right.
If it would have been a mass-produced watch, I would have done 10
Mhm.
samples and then decided upon doing one product. So that way we reduce the quantity. Then secondly, we're working on elements like, plant-based leather for making our watch straps.
Mhm.
That is one part. We're not using plastic in any of our packaging. Our package, whatever we use, it's basically reused metal or reused wood to make our packaging boxes. So
Right.
these are the kind of things which we have inculcated in the brand, and we plan to take it forward with addition of new materials and following these principles very strictly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
amazing.
Sustainability is a process.
Yeah.
It cannot happen over
No, it
night.
cannot happen in that. Yeah.
And when people or the brands convey that they're 100% sustainable, I don't understand how that happens, because
Yeah.
there is just not the materials, it's the process, it's also the way that you're running your business also needs to be
Mhm.
sustainable.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's an ongoing process, and I think it's very crucial that the brand is looking at it from that
Yeah.
angle. I think, Ellen, anything that you would like to add in terms?
I think on the sustainability side, brands get into trouble and become accused of greenwashing when they try to say that they're doing everything.
Right.
And so you have to make sure that whatever you're doing, is sustainable from your point of view, is true to your brand as well. So, absolutely right. Plant-based leathers is great. Why wouldn't you try and do that? Being plastic free, it's a real choice to go plastic free, and there are alternatives. Having reusable stories around the metal and the wood for your packaging. These are all things that really build more value into the brand and the whole brand story. But if you suddenly wanted to run off and start planting trees, is that really going to be part of your brand? No, it's not. It just looks like you're running after the latest PR story
Yeah.
that might be across the magazines, and that's when you get into greenwashing. So
Yeah.
I think brands that do what they can and genuinely are doing that and looking for more opportunities in the future, they are the true followers and supporters of sustainability for me. So I applaud you. I think it's great. And the volume production is one of the biggest challenges now in luxury and around the world generally.
True.
You can stop wasting minerals, stop wasting resources, stop wasting water. That's a huge step on that road to sustainability. So yeah, it's amazing. Well done.
Thank you.
On that note, Gaurav, it's been a lovely conversation with you. As we always have this final question with entrepreneurs who join us for this series, one piece of advice or just a learning, for any entrepreneur who's starting up or even shifting the business from a premium to a luxury brand in the Indian sector, right? That you would like to part with.
See, India is a great story. And as a country, we are only 75 years young.
Mm.
Okay. When you talk about luxury brands, they have stories of 200 years, 300 years. Okay. They have legacies of decades and generations. As a country, we are only 75 years old.
Yeah.
Give us some more time, and I think we'll have our own stories. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you enter now, you will be the one who will be building the story for the future generations. So I think this is the right time to enter, and one should not hesitate in entering. There is a lot of demand for Indian products. Stay consistent on the quality, and always stay in the game. Never give up, because opportunities will definitely fall for you.
Mm.
1 month is not good, 2 months is not good, probably third month will get you something.
Yeah.
So I am a firm believer of this, and that's why I've stayed in this game, and I've done decent for myself so far. Yeah.
That's
Amazing.
a lovely note where you've mentioned
Yeah.
that, we're a young company, we are a young country,
Mm.
and you have a chance to create stories now. So
Yeah.
very beautifully put, Gaurav. Thank you
Yeah.
so much. And I'm sure it's going to motivate a lot of other entrepreneurs out there to take
Thank you,
that
Shreya.
move. And
Thank you, Helen. Yeah.
thank you so much.
It's been great. Thank you so much for taking time.